Hello, welcome to this class, this practice. I thought today we would take it easy. So this will be a nice grounding flow for when you want to do a little movement but don't want to overexert. If you're feeling low energy and just need a stretch, this will help to just ease back into a movement practice if you've been on hiatus for a little while, like I have. If you've been too busy with life, or if you've been not feeling well or just low energy, life kind of gets in the way and we don't always have time for our practice. So this will be a good one for many of you. Props today, a couple blocks and a blanket, always optional, but can definitely help to enhance any movements that might need an assist. I will have you start on your back, just in supine, just to ground in. So get settled, get comfortable. Feel your back body connect. Feel the floor support you. And take a moment and just let any tension that you might be holding dissolve. Maybe do a scan from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. Notice if you're contracting any muscles or holding tension in any of your joints. Just start to settle into your breath. Just notice the rhythm. It doesn't have to be with any amount of control, but just an observation of breath. Take any movements to adjust into this grounding and settling into your body. If you're still holding on to any tension, breathe into those spaces. Let the breath swirl around and gather any of that tension, and then release it out through your exhale. And you can make an audible exhale. And don't be afraid to make noise. If you're alone at home especially, there's nothing holding you back. So let it out. Feel how powerful a sigh can be. Just something simple like that. And just notice. When you're ready, you can just stretch, arms overhead, stretch feet in the opposite direction, like a full body yawn, first morning stretch. Just expand through every cell. Close your eyes and fill the room that you're in. And if you're not in a room, if you're outside, just expand into the air. When you're ready, hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side, massage your back body. Just let it feel good. Notice if your spine is settling, and it might make some noises, some adjustments. Just let it feel good. That's what this all is about. Tuck your chin just slightly so you have length through your entire spine. So lengthen your cervical spine, the back of your neck. This time, take your hands to the tops of your knees and just guide your knees in little circles, just to kind of take the massage to your lower back in different angles. 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then reverse direction. Gentle circles, little massage. Hug your knees, give them a good squeeze. Maybe hands connect to your shins. Lift your head, bring your forehead toward your knees. Contract. And then slowly release your head. Keep your knees in. Hug your right knee in. Give it a squeeze. Let your left leg release out. And you can wiggle that right knee so your thigh is connected into your belly. Let your shoulders drop, and then give your leg a wiggle. And it massages the right side of your digestive system, the right side of your belly just a little bit. Feel your abdominal wall relax, releasing tension from your belly. We hold a lot of emotion in our belly. So just feel it release. And then give it a squeeze. This time flex both feet. So you're pressing out through the heels. Feel your shoulders release down toward the earth. Feel the heels reach in the opposite direction of your head. Just feel that length through your whole body. Your elbows kind of connect in toward your ribs just a little bit. So they draw in and then feel them pulled down toward the floor. Keep your right hand at your shin. Take your left hand just to your hip point, your iliac crest. Both feet stay flexed. And then guide that right knee open. And that left hand keeps your hip from lifting. So if you feel like your hip is lifting off the ground, you can just give it a little nudge. Let that right leg open out. Let gravity do its thing. If you have space in your hamstring and your inner thigh, you can even straighten that right leg. You can use a strap here if you have a strap at home, or you can use a belt. Or if you have your big toe lock, you can take your first 2 fingers, your peace fingers, and just hook toward the inside of your big toe. And you're actually doing a lot of work with your arm. So you're kind of pulling your foot with your hand. Let the weight of your leg kind of collapse into the arm. So your arm is almost holding your leg up. That's if your leg is straight. If your leg is bent, you're just kind of pulling the knee down and opening up into the inner thigh. Keeping that left hip down. Heart open toward the ceiling. And breathe and just relax into that shape. So if your leg is straight, just bend it again. And then guide that knee through center. Switch hands. So your left hand connects to your shin or the top of your knee, and your right arm opens out like a wing, palm touches down. And you just guide that knee over to the left side just until your right hip starts to lift. So you're not coming into a full deep twist, especially early in your practice. Gentle on the spine. So you're just twisting until that right hip starts to lift, and then find a little resistance. So as you pull your right knee down toward the left side, find the opposite movement as you pull the right hip. So it's almost like the hip is trying to connect back into the ground, and you're trying to pull the knee with equal pressure down toward the floor. So just feel a little isometric resistance in that leg and just see what happens. And again here, if you have space, You can straighten the leg. Keep flexing. The straight leg, you'll feel a little more stretch in the outside of the leg, the IT band, iliotibial. Just notice. If it's too much, bend the knee. Soften the knee again, come back through center. Arms open out, palms touch down, just give the leg a shake. Loosen it up. Wiggle your ankle, wiggle your toes. And then hug both knees in again. Rock from side to side. This time the left knee stays in, right leg goes out. Massage the left side of your digestive system, left side of your belly. Feel your lower abdominals relax. Movement, and then settle into stillness. Shoulders reach away from your ears. Elbows draw in and down. So you feel that space between the shoulder and your neck. So you're not squeezing your shoulders up toward your ears. You're pressing them down. Tuck your chin, length through the back of your neck. Right hand connects to your hip point. Left hand guides your knee open. Both feet stay flexed. Couple breaths with the knee bent. And then if you feel like you've got space, straighten that leg. Keep pressing out through the heels. So again, you can use a strap here, right around the arch of your foot, if you have one available, just to create a little space between the foot if you can't reach all the way, but you want that sensation of the leg straight. Soften the lower belly. Keep that right hip grounded. Soften that knee, come back through neutral. Switch the hands, right hand connects to the shin, left arm opens out like a wing, palm touches down. Guide the knee over to the right just until the hip starts to lift, and then find that isometric resistance again. And you can kind of play with it. You can soften and then engage. And just see what happens. Straighten the leg if you feel called to. Just notice if it makes a difference. It probably will. Soften the knee. Come back to neutral, arms open out like wings, and just give the leg a shake. Hug both knees in, rock from side to side. And bring your feet down to the earth. Brush your heels with your fingertips. Knees connect in toward each other. And if you want to engage the inner thighs, you can even bring a block right between your legs, right at the top of your thighs. Give it a squeeze. And then press into the heels so that the hips start to lift. So you're coming into a nice, easy bridge pose. Just pressing the hips toward the ceiling, keeping the knees drawing in toward each other. And if you're hugging that block, Keep squeezing the block. Keep that engaged. And then one vertebra at a time, all the way down to the floor. Lower back spreads, everything relax. And then again, press into the heels, lift the hips, squeeze the knees or squeeze the block. This time, raise your arms overhead. Lift a little bit higher into your shoulders, your upper back. And then flow, one vertebra at a time, arms and hips, all the way down to the earth. Flow like that just a few times. Inhale, raise, keeping everything engaged. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And once more. Release down. And you can windshield the legs. Release the hips, the lower back. Just bring some movement. Bring some fluidity into your practice. It doesn't have to be static. Never has to be static. You can move and flow and explore with any movement or posture in any class. Freedom of movement. Take your right leg, cross your right ankle to the top of your left knee. Figure 4. Keep that left foot grounded to start. Flex your right foot and actively, you can even manually with your hand, press that knee away. So if you've been neglecting your hips like I have, it might be a little intense at first. So you want to ease into it. So keep that intention with the knee pressing away from that right shoulder. And then if you, at this point, decide that you have space, you can lift that left leg, catch behind the knee. You can find movement here or stay in stillness. Both feet flex this time. A couple breaths, and if you feel like you have more space, if you have really open hips, you can reach to catch your hands around your shin. But only if you can keep your head relaxed down at the floor. If you feel like you're holding too much tension, just keep the hand behind the knee. Touch that left foot down. Cross your knees like you're sitting in a chair, and then open your arms like wings again. You're twisting both legs, crossed legs, over to the left, and you can take that left hand to the top of your right knee. You can bring a block or a blanket underneath if you feel like you need to lift the floor for a little more support. The right shoulder stays connected. And if you want, you can bring your eye gaze over that right shoulder. Breathe into the lower back and wherever you're feeling this stretch. Every exhale, just feel yourself release into the stretch, into the shape. unwind, come back to neutral. Hug both knees in, rock from side to side. Both feet touch down. This time it's the left ankle crosses to the right knee. Pausing with the right foot grounded. Flex the left foot manually if you want. Press that left knee away. Then when you're ready, pick up that right leg. Flex right foot. Clasp behind the knee. And keep pressing through the heels. And press that left knee away from your left shoulder. So if you do feel like that hip is really tight and the knee starts to creep toward the shoulder, lower the leg. Just have that right foot grounded. Find any movements here. If you feel like rocking, just explore. There's no wrong way. Right foot touches down. Cross the legs. Open the arms. And then twist to the right. Take a little time to just settle into it. So every breath, allow yourself to settle a little bit deeper. Inhale, expand, and then exhale, settle. Start to unwind, come back in. Knees hug in. So this time take your hands to the backs of your knees. Pump the legs. And you can rock back and forth if that feels good, or you can just roll up into a seated position. But you might as well have a little fun with it. And just massage your spine. And then cross your ankles, come all the way up. Roll into a table position. Set your hands right underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. Find what works best for you. Spread your fingers wide, press into the pads of your fingers and right across your knuckles. And just notice if you're collapsing into the shoulders and the joints or if you're pushing the floor away. So using your muscles to stack your joints. Send the crown of your head away from your tailbone. Draw your belly button in. Feel that stability in your mid-body. And then with all of that, let your heart come forward and your tailbone lift. Feel your elbows roll under so that you're not opening the elbows out. You're actually, if you're to bend your elbows, they would bend toward your legs. Round your spine. Press the floor away. Exhale, squeeze breath out. Take some really long breaths. You can even take a few breaths per movement just to explore. Ease your way into the movements. And then when you're ready, you can start flowing with breath. Maybe close your eyes and just connect with it. Just feel whatever needs to be released. You can stay in this linear movement, or you can start to explore any direction, moving your spine with fluidity in all directions. Moving through full range of movement of joints, making this as big or as little as you need it to be. Just honor where you are today. Start to make your way down into a child's pose. Reach your fingers out. So walk your hands toward the top of your mat. Roll your elbows under so you broaden right across the upper back. Feel that space through your shoulder blades, ribs. Feel it stretch all the way down to the hips. You can bring your forehead to your mat or connect to a block or a blanket just to raise the floor if you need the extra space. One more breath. Lift your eye gaze to your fingertips. Walk your hands out to the right. Take your left hand to interlace on top of the right and pull all the way down through that hip. And breathing into the ribs in that lateral stretch. Just notice where you feel it. Come back to neutral. All the way over to the left. Right hand interlaces. Stretch to the opposite side. And just notice if there's a difference between the left and the right. There usually is. Just honor that. Come back to neutral. Like a wave, roll all the way back into your table position. Take a couple cat and cow movements to reset the spine. And then settle into your foundation. Press the floor away. Roll the elbows under slightly. Belly button draws in. Support your mid-body. Mid-body stabilized. Send the right leg back. Level the hips. Reach the foot away from the crown of your head. And you can roll your ankle, stretch your toes. Find some movement in your lower extremities. And then come to stillness. Bring your weight into your right hand. Left hand reaches out. Press strong through that right hand in the left shin. Full breath in, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Just 3 times. Inhale, expand. Slow it way down and notice what happens. Exhale, squeeze the breath out. Connect elbow to knee. Once more, inhale, expand. Exhale. Inhale, reach. This time as you exhale, open out to the diagonal. Come back in through neutral. Inhale, expand a little bit wider. Exhale, start to bring the core online. Exhale, open out all the way. Come back in through neutral. And then everything comes back underneath. Cat and cow, reset the spine. Linear or moving in any direction. Just noticing, bringing a little heat into the big muscles. Things start to warm up and things start to loosen up. Find that foundation again. Press the floor away, hug the elbows in. This time the left leg goes out. Level the hips. Roll the ankle. Find stillness. Ground into that left hand, right arm reaches out. Set your eye gaze and then stretch long, fingertips away from toes. Big breath in. Exhale, connect elbow to knee. Inhale, expand. Flow with breath. Exhale. Once more, big reach. Exhale. Inhale, expand. You know where we're going. Exhale, open out to the diagonal. Progressive. Inhale. Exhale, open a little bit wider. Inhale. Last time, open as wide as you can go. Back in through neutral. And then hands and knees touch down. Flow through cat and cow. How's that feel? Starting to loosen up. Starting to feel a little more energized, perhaps. Right leg reaches back once again. Flex your foot. This time, touch the toes down and just take a peek and line up your toes with your hip point. Roll the elbows under so that the elbows point toward your knees. And then press forward and back like you're trying to tear your mat in half. The hands press forward, strong into the mat. And the toes, grounding into the ball of the foot, press the heel back. And just get that nice stretch all the way down the back of the leg. If you feel called to, keep that back leg stretched and lift the left shin. And again, you don't want the elbows pointing out to the sides. You want them pointing toward the knees. Lower down. This time, kickstand the left leg. Lower the right instep. Press into the left hand. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Side plank variation. Full breath in. Expand right across the chest. And then as you exhale, right leg lifts. That hip rolls open toward the ceiling, and then you can stretch right arm overhead. Feel that length all the way through the side of the body. Stay here, or you can bend that top leg, catch the foot or the ankle, and then press into your hand. Feel that opening through the front body. If you want a challenge, you can try to roll all the way back to center, keeping that hand connected to the foot. and maybe kick a little bit higher. Slowly release all the way down. Cat and cow. If your wrists need a rest, you can sit back into child's pose. Walk the fingertips out and just roll the wrists. Wiggle the fingers. When you're ready, come back into table. Set your foundation. Reach the left leg out. Level the hip, flex your foot. Touch the ball of the foot down. Press forward and back. Elbows roll under to point toward your knees. Tear your mat in half. Keep pressing strong forward and back. If you feel like you have the lift, raise that right shin, your forehead toward knee. The temptation is to lift the heel of that left leg. Keep pressing down so you keep that nice stretch. Great prep for downward facing dog. To get the backs of the legs nice and primed, straighten. And then all the way down. Kickstand right shin, left instep touches down. Left arm reaches, come all the way up. Expand right across the chest. Press down into that right hand strong. Equally lift up with the left hand. Left leg lifts. Left arm reaches overhead. Expand right across the room. Keep the shoulder connected. And then if you feel called, bend that top leg, catch the foot. Press the foot into the hand, roll open. And you can release, or if you want that challenge, you can start to roll your chest back to neutral, keeping the clasp of the foot. And kick back. Come all the way back down. Sink hips to heels, child's pose. Forehead meets the earth. Full breath in, full breath out. One more. Come all the way back up into table, tuck your toes. This time you're walking your hands out, keeping the hips lifted, and you're lowering your chest and your chin or your forehead if the chin is too much. Puppy pose, Anahatasana, heart melter. Every exhale, settle into the shape a little bit more. Make your way all the way down to your belly. Elbows underneath your shoulders, Sphinx pose. Spread your fingers wide. You're pressing down into the hips and engaging your glutes. And then pull your elbows toward your hips. Feel your heart pull through the tops of your arms. And then bring your hands underneath your forehead, bend your knees, windshield wiper the legs. Touch the toes down, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, lift up, table pose, tuck your toes, lift up, press back, downward facing dog. Everything you've done up to this point has been preparing you for this. Pedal your heels, sway the hips, find whatever movements feel good in this. Take your eye gaze between your hands. Walk your feet to the top of your mat. Keep your knees bent a lot. Let your legs take the weight of your upper body. Chest connects to thighs. And just release. Let the weight of your head go. Release the burden of holding your head from your neck and your shoulders just for a moment. And then bring your hands to your shins, lift halfway up. Send your heart away from your hips. Keep the knees bent. Open your arms wide like wings, come all the way up to standing. Palms touch. Bring your hands to your heart center. And then open Tadasana. Feel your feet grounded. Feel your heart rise. You can close your eyes here if that feels good. Just expand. On your next inhale, rise, connect palms. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold, knees bent as much as you need. Inhale, lengthen halfway, fingertips to the earth or hands to shins. Exhale, right foot steps back. And take the long version of this one. Lower the back knee down, uncurl the toes. You can walk the toes of that left foot forward just a little bit so that the ankle is right underneath the knee. Hips are square to the top of your mat and you're sending your heart forward. Shoulders draw back, elbows pull back toward your hips. Right hand touches down underneath your shoulder, left hand connects to your knee. Lengthen through your spine and then rotate to the left side. Rotating toward that bent knee. Use the left hand to leverage. And then from here, leave the upper body where it is. Tuck the back toes under and just straighten the back leg. From here, let that left hand rise. Send the arms right across the room, floor to ceiling. Hug that front knee in toward your chest. Feel a little bonus stretch in the hip. Feels good, hopefully. Come all the way back down. Hands frame that front foot. Send that left foot back, downward facing dog. As you inhale, roll forward. Find your way into plank. Right away, knees touch down, elbows draw under so that when you bend forward, knees, chest, chin, elbows hug your sides. Slide forward to your belly, lift the chest, baby cobra. Elbows squeeze in. Lift up, tuck the toes back, under, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Full deep exhale. Soften knees, look forward. Right foot steps. Right away, lower the back knee down. Uncurl the toes. Walk right toes forward just a little bit, depending on how open you are in that hip flexor, so that when you come deeper into the stretch, the knee doesn't come forward of the ankle, just to have control of the stretch. And then lift through the heart. Press strong into that right foot, like you're pressing through the ground. Left hand underneath the shoulder, grounded. Right hand to the top of the knee, lengthen through your spine and then rotate. Use that right hand to leverage. Send the breath wherever you're feeling the sensation of this. Maybe that's the hip flexor or the quadricep. Keep the upper body where it is. Tuck the back toes under. Just straighten that left leg. Send the heel away from that front knee and then arms reach away from each other. The knee hugs in toward your chest and you just expand in all directions. And then touch down. Take that back foot in. Lengthen halfway, knees bent or straight as much as you need. Exhale, forward fold. Press strong into the feet. Inhale to rise. Come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Open wide, Tadasana. Second round, left side. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hinge. Forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Exhale, left foot steps back. This time, keep the leg lifted. Right away, come into that twist. Twist toward the bent knee. Exhale, touch down. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward, knees or toes. Lower. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Full exhale. Soften knees. Look forward, left foot steps. Keep that back leg lifted. Expand and then twist. And twisting to the left. Opening wide through the arms. Touch down. Step forward. Lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise. Palms connect. Bring hands to heart. Tadasana. Inhale. Reach up. Exhale, hinge. Lengthen. Exhale, right foot steps. Open into the twist. Touch down. Step back. Downward facing dog. Roll forward. Knees or toes, bend your elbows. Inhale, rise. Exhale, press back. Look forward, soften knees, right foot steps, twist, open wide. Touch down. Step forward, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Tadasana. Sweep up, lengthen, inhale. Exhale, hinge. Inhale, lengthen, halfway. Left foot steps back. Right arm reaches, open into the twist. Touch down. Step back, downward facing dog. Roll forward. Knees or toes. Rise. Press back. Full exhale. Soften knees, look forward, left foot steps. Open into the twist. Touch down. Step forward. Lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise, connect. One more round, all the way through. Sweep up, inhale. Exhale, hinge. Lengthen halfway. Right foot steps. Open into the twist. Touch down. Step back. Roll forward. Lower your way. Rise, open heart. Press back and breathe. Full breath out. Soften knees, look forward, right foot steps. Open into the twist. Touch down. Step forward. Lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise, long spine, connect palms. Hands to heart. Open wide. Sweep up. Exhale. Inhale. Left foot steps back. Open into the twist. Touch down. Step back. Roll forward. Lower. And rise. Press back. 3 breaths. Soften knees, look forward. Left foot steps, twist, touch down, step forward. Lengthen halfway, exhale, fold. Rise, connect palms, hands to heart. Tadasana. Pause here. Hold stillness or find any movements to release, to move energy, just to reconnect to nervous system. Shake off the week, whatever you need to do. This practice is all just about making space, creating space for energy to flow. That's all it is. It's always that simple. When you're ready, ground in, feet hip width distance. Inhale, rise, sweep up. Exhale, hinge, forward fold. Option if you want, if you're done with vinyasas, you can step right back into downward facing dog or step into plank and lower. Flow through a vinyasa, rise, and we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Squeeze into the left heel, right leg reaches back. And keep the hips square at first. Press the heel toward that back wall. Toes point to the earth, heel to the ceiling. Feel like you're pressing the floor away. And then draw that knee in, round forward, foot flexed, step between your hands, lower the back knee down. Grab your blocks. Here's where the props come in. Blocks have 3 heights, so you can play with it. You might start with the highest height. So you're coming into a low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Walk the toes forward. If you know that your hip flexors are nice and open, and you can go a little bit deeper, so that you're not coming into this kind of stuck position where the knee is forward of the ankle. Walk the toes forward so that you have control. Blocks at whatever height keeps your spine long. Keep the heart lifted and the shoulders pressing away from the ears. Keep pressing strong into that right foot, like you're pushing through the earth, like you could make a dent in the floor. If you're at the highest height, you can flatten the block so you're at that lowest height. Lift that right arm all the way up and over. So you're coming into a nice lateral bend. And then touch down. And you're doing the same thing on the other side. It might feel a little weird. So find the lowest height of the block. Touch down with the right hand. Lift that left arm up and over. Keep pressing strong into the right foot. Touch down. And do that once more. Left arm touches down, right arm reaches overhead. Exhale, touch down. Right hand grounds in, left arm reaches high. Release all the way down. So you can move the blocks back to the highest height, and you can adjust later if you need to. Press really strong. That hip flexor is going to feel a little rough, but it'll settle. You're straightening the front leg and then lifting the toes. Pull the hip back so you anchor right at the top of the leg bone, your femur. Engage the front of the leg. So you're flexing the front of the leg and then release out through the heel. So strength, like a pulley system, pulling up toward the top of the leg and then releasing from the top of the leg all the way up through the heel. Send the heart forward, and you can find a little movement here, flowing the spine with the breath, but keep that leg really active. And then lift up through the spine. Keep the leg active. Draw the heart forward. So it's almost like you're pulling your blocks back toward your hip, but they're staying grounded. Those isometric engagements. They don't look like much, but they do a lot. Keep the leg where it is. You're taking your blocks and walking your hands out to the side. Now, if this is really tight, if your IT band is really tight and you're feeling this a lot, just kind of tip your body, your torso toward the diagonal rather than coming into like a full twist. And there are 2 types of people in the world. There are some that this is pure agony, and then there are others that can barely feel it. And both are acceptable and needed. And wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. But we can always be better. And so it's working on yourself, but also honoring where you are. And not just from day to day, from moment to moment. Come back to neutral. Bend into that front leg. This time, take your blocks flat. Take your hands right underneath your shoulders. So maybe toe heel that foot just a little bit wider so you're in a lizard lunge and you bring your hands right underneath the shoulders. Again, press down into the hands and then pull the heels of the hands back toward your hips to pull your heart forward. Hug your front knee in toward your elbow or your tricep. And the toes of that right foot point forward. So the tendency is to just collapse into this, collapse the spine forward. See if you can stay lifted through the heart. Even if you come down to your forearms, I see a lot of people just kind of rounding their spine. See if you can take your eye gaze forward and send your shoulders back. Keep that knee hugging in toward your elbow or your tricep or your shoulder, whatever you want to call it. That direction. Press down into the floor, pull the heart forward. Lift all the way back to your hands. Keep that front foot grounded. You're pulling back into that half split, but this time you're keeping the foot flat. Feel that nice stretch right on the top of the foot, into the ankle, maybe into the shin. Again, press down into the floor, pull the heart forward. Bend that front leg. Move the blocks. And then grab your blanket. Bring the blanket over to the right side. So this time, you're moving your foot toe heel right across the left side of your mat. And then you're lowering down. So you're coming into a pigeon. If you have really tight hips, you can keep that back leg bent. Ground into that right hip. Both legs are at about 90 degrees. And then you're coming down toward that right shin. You can even bring your blocks underneath your forearms. And again, pigeon is another pose that people rush into. So I like to coach it in a way that you can be really mindful, because it's really easy to be out of alignment in this pose. So if you aren't feeling the stretch in the hip when you take this shape, turn that left hip forward so that both hips are pointing toward the top of your mat. And you can take a peek at that back leg and just line up the ankle, the knee, and the hip. So you don't want this leg out to the side, and you definitely don't want the knee pointing out to the side. You want the knee pointing down and the heel pointing up. So if your right hip starts to lift, prop. Take the prop as thick as that hip is lifted. If you have space, you can open that shin forward. The more parallel you can get your shin to the top of your mat, the more space you'll have for a lift, but it's also a really intense stretch. So just kind of find that happy medium. Lift up through the chest to start. This is another one where there's a tendency to just collapse into the shape, and it does nothing. So be a little more intentional with the movements. Be a little more active with the shape. Keep pulling that left hip forward. Send the shoulders back. Feel the heart opening toward the front. And then you can start to walk your hands forward. So you keep a long spine, kind of lead with your heart, lead with your chin. You can come down to the forearms, press down into the elbows, pull the elbows toward your shin. And then you can play with it. You can go a little bit deeper, or I like to bring a little twist in. So if you take your right hand down to the floor and then just kind of press into the floor, you can open into a little twist. A deeper variation is to kind of take prayer arms, that right elbow to the outside of the right knee. And just kind of play with wherever you are. We're not going to be here forever. We have to do the other side. When you're ready, walk the hands back, tuck the back toes, lift up, press back, downward facing dog. Find whatever movements you need in order to release this shape. Just kind of settle back into neutral. Take your eye gaze forward. Walk, step, or float to the top of your mat. Lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise, sweep up, connect palms. Bring hands to heart. Find Tadasana. Shake it out. That was a big move. And then ground in, sweep up. Flowing through a vinyasa or stepping right back into downward facing dog. We'll all meet in dog. Right heel grounds in, left leg reaches back. Keep the hips neutral. Press through the heel and the palms of your hand. Draw that knee in. Round your spine, step forward between your hands, lower the back knee down. Uncurl the toes if that feels okay. Walk your foot forward. Grab your blocks. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Settle into it. Active in that front foot. Press down into the front foot. Open through the chest. Send the shoulders back. Press strong into that front foot. Pull back. Lift through the chest. Straighten that front leg. Squeeze through the heel. Feel the top of the leg connect. It's almost like the leg is moving in two directions. So you're sending the hip back as you press the heel forward. Keep the upper body where it is. Lengthen here. And come into that IT band stretch. So you're either just coming slightly to a diagonal or both hands to the outside of that front leg. Keep pressing out through the heel. Toes lift to the ceiling. Walk the hands back. Come back into that low lunge. This time, come to the flat version of your blocks. Right hand connects down. Left arm lifts up and over. That lateral bend again. Keep pressing into that left foot, strong into the earth. Touch down, switch sides. Right arm lifts. Once more each side. Right hand touches down, left arm reaches. Release. Left hand down, right arm reaches. Connect. Lift up through the hips. Take the hands to the inside. Toe heel that front foot out just a little bit wider. Hands to the inside of the front foot and underneath the shoulders, and then come down into that lizard. Hug knee toward the elbow or the tricep. Send the heart forward. Left toes still point toward the top of your mat. Keeping the long spine if you have space, if you can keep a long spine. And then you can lower elbows to the floor or blocks. Coming back to your hands. Press to lift the hips. Keep the foot grounded. Reach through the heart. So get that nice stretch all the way through the top of the foot, the ankle and the shin. Softening into the hip, moving the blocks. Having your blanket ready on the left side. Toe heel that front foot all the way over to the right. Lower down, either setting up with both knees pointing to the right, coming forward toward that left shin, elbows to the floor or blocks. Or if that's not enough stretch for you, squaring the hips to the top of the mat. Right knee points to the earth, the top of the foot flat, and the heel lifting up toward the ceiling. As that hip starts to lift, bring your blanket. Open the shin out as much as you can. And then lift through the heart, long spine. If you need a little more support for the knee, flex that foot. Keep pulling that right hip back. And then exhale, walk forward. You can stay on the hands, or you can come down to the forearms. You can play with the twist. Left hand connects just outside the knee, and then press down. Open up with a long spine twist. Slowly release. Walk the hands back. Tuck the back toes under, lift up, press back. Move your blanket Find any movements to release that. Soften knees, look forward, walk, step, or float to the top of your mat, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Press into the feet, rise, connect palms. Bring hands to heart. Open Tadasana, shake it out. And just notice how you feel. Sweep up, rise, connect palms. Exhale, forward fold. Again, you can either skip the vinyasa or you can flow. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Left heel squeezes, right leg reaches back. This time bend your knee, open your hip. Keep the shoulders square. You can wiggle the foot. Maybe make some circles. Whatever feels good. And then that knee comes through center. Round your spine, step forward, lower the back heel. So you're setting up your warrior one legs. Right hip pulls back, left hip presses forward, heart reaches. Both feet press down, especially that back foot, anchor it. Glue it to the floor. Deep bend in the legs. Just lift through the chest on the arms back behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades like there's a ball between your shoulder blades. And then send that left hip forward. Right hip pulls back. It's almost like pulling a steering wheel. Strong through the legs. Press into the right foot. Lift all the way up. Find warrior one. Expand open through the heart. Find depth in the legs. Reach to the fingertips. Bring your right hand to your hip. Lift up through the left fingertips. Reach up and over. Lateral bend. Sweep up and to the other side. Left hand connects to your hip. Right fingertips reach up and over. Back through center. Both arms reach up. Bring both hands to your hips. Step the back foot in 6 or 8 inches. Turn the toes forward just a little bit. Right toes point to the top of your mat. Both legs are straight. Have the blocks handy if you need a little extra lift through the floor. Square the hips to the top of the mat. Engage the legs. And then start to hinge forward. Once your spine is parallel to the floor, pull that right hip back even more. So you can maybe land here, hands to the top of the leg or the shin, or you can bring your blocks on either side of that front foot. Play with the height, whatever you need. Just be sure you're not rounding through the spine. Send the heart forward toward the top of your mat. Lengthen through the spine. Left hand underneath the shoulder. Right hand connects to your hip. Send your weight a little bit more into that front leg. Keep the back heel grounded. And then you're rotating. So Revolve Triangle, if you have it in your practice and you know it, come right into it. If you need to take a little bit more, a couple more steps, you can stay here. Or you can come a little bit lower with a block. Or you can come to the floor, palm to the floor. You can challenge a little deeper, hand to the top of the foot. Both legs stay straight. The fullest expression, the left hand crosses to the outside of that right foot, and you rotate. There's no hiding in this one, so honor where you are today. Look down at the floor, soften that front leg. Hands frame the front foot, step back, step, step, either downward facing dog or flow through a vinyasa. Right leg reaches back, three-legged dog, same leg. Bend your knee, bring that leg forward. Step between your hands, this time keep the back heel lifted. Step a little bit wider so you're nice and balanced. Come up, Crescent Lunge. Find a little depth. Sweep the fingertips to the sky. Sink down into that front leg. Bring your hands to your hips. So you're launching forward to stand on that right leg. Lift up to start with that left leg, and then cross the ankle. You're coming into a standing figure four. Right leg bends. Bring your hands to your heart. Just practicing with the balance. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this, you can take it into a twist. You can twist the left elbow to the outside, the sole of your left foot. Or if you want an arm balance, if you know it, you connect your shin to the backs of your arms, hands flat. That's for you today, if you choose, not for me. Sink a little bit deeper. And then inhale, straighten the leg, uncross. Come all the way back up. Step back. Crescent, and then touchdown. Flow through a vinyasa, or just find downward facing dog. Right heel grounds in, left leg reaches. Bend your knee, open your hip. Keep the shoulders square. As that hip opens, roll that left shoulder down. And find whatever movement feels good. Then when you're ready, hug the knee in, step forward, lower the back heel, set up warrior one legs. Ground into the feet. Arms reach back, lift the chest, squeeze shoulder blades, deep knee bend. Press strong into the legs, inhale, rise. Warrior one. Send the shoulders back and the heart forward. Left hand connects to your hip. Right arm reaches up and over. Inhale back through center, rise. Right hand connects to hip, left arm up and over. Kind of testing your balance a little bit. Inhale, rise. Bring your hands back to your hips, straighten the front leg. Back leg steps in, 6 or 8 inches, square the hips. Lift up through the chest. Exhale, hinge forward. Pause halfway, pull that left hip back. So you're squaring the hips to the top of your mat. And then find whatever height you choose. Stay lifted, stay open. And then once you get to that point where you can't hinge anymore, then you can forward fold. Inhale, rise. Coming into that revolve triangle. So you're either taking your right hand underneath your shoulder, left hand to your hip, shifting the hips forward just a little bit toward that front leg, and rotate. Release the arms. Or you find whatever expression works best for you. No block, block, hand underneath shoulder, hand crossed to the outside or to the top of the foot. Look down at the floor, soften that front knee. Move your blocks, step back to downward facing dog. Roll forward if you choose, flow through a vinyasa. Left leg reaches back. 3-legged dog. Bend your knee. Draw that leg forward. Step between your hands, crescent lunge. Step the feet a little bit wider for better balance. Sweep up, crescent. Just feel strong, confident in those legs. Bring your hands to your hips. Soften that back leg. Lift up. Come to stand. And then cross right ankle to the top of the left knee. Figure 4, standing. Hands to heart, or wherever they feel best. Stay here, or you can play with it. Come all the way back up. Step into crescent. Exhale, touch down. One last vinyasa if you choose. All the way back into downward facing dog. Lower knees down. Flow through cat and cow. And then sink back into child's pose. Full surrender. When you're ready, come up, walk the knees forward, cross your ankles. Take your hands back behind you, thumbs turn to the outside to open the shoulders, and windshield wiper the legs. just to open the hips a little bit more. So I'll turn forward so you can see. You can sit on the edge of your blanket if you need a little lift through the hips, if that feels good. And then you're either just crossing into like a half lotus, if that's enough for your hips, or you can come a little bit deeper and you're going shin to ankle or knee to ankle and you're stacking your shins. Fire log, Agni Stambhasana. You can use blocks if you need a little grounding for the hands. And just pause here. Flex both feet to protect the knees. Lift up through the chest. Ground in through the sits bones where you're making contact to the earth. And then you can start to walk forward. This might be agony for you. It kind of is for me today. Roll the elbows under. Send the heart forward. And then you're just keeping that right hand down, lifting left arm right across the chest. And then touch down. Switch. Left hand stays down, right arm reaches up. And it doesn't matter which one you started on because you're doing both anyway. Come back down. So you can walk the hands out. And depending on how open you are, you might even be able to get your forearms or your elbows down. See if you can hold for a few breaths. Come all the way back up. Unwind. Windshield wiper the legs. Let it go. And then to the other side. So whichever leg you had under, switch it up. Take a moment, just set it up. See where it needs to be. See how intense you want it. So the closer you are to stacking knee and ankle, the more intense it'll get. The wider your knees are, the less intense that will be on your hips. So just feel into it. Sit tall. That might be enough. Hands or fingertips touch down to the floor, or you can use blocks if you need more height. Just create space, raise the floor a little bit. So starting with the left hand down, right arm reaches back. You can actually use that forearm to kind of keep that foot connected. And then touch down, switch sides. Right hand stays down, left arm reaches back. And then connect. Reach forward, round. Maybe you can connect forearms or elbows to the floor. Come all the way back up. Unwind. Let it go. And you can move off of your prop. Roll onto your back. Heels tuck in toward your hips. Knees connect in toward each other. Lift through the hips, pressing the heels. You can stay with the arms, just brushing the floor, fingertips to the heels, or you can clasp the hands underneath, roll the arms under, open the chest. Keep drawing the knees in toward each other. Slowly lower down. Just let the spine reset. Keep the feet grounded. And then again, press into the heels, lift the hips. Keep the arms grounded or clasp underneath, open through the chest. Squeeze the hips higher. Draw the knees in toward each other, protect the lower back. Slowly lower all the way down. Flat spine. Just a pause. So one more bridge pose, or you can take wheel if that's in your practice. Both start the same, press into the heels, lift the hips. So you're either coming into bridge, clasping underneath, or wheel, bringing your hands by your shoulders. First, come up to the top of your head, squeeze into the back body, and then lift. Open through the heart. Let the head go. Slowly come all the way down. Just pause with a flat spine. And then hug your knees in. Rock from side to side, ending the same way we began. So if you want a little restorative before you close out the practice, take your block. Lift the hips again, just like you're coming into a bridge. Slide your block right underneath your sacrum, the flat spot of your lower back. And just stack your legs right over your hips. If you want this really restorative, you can bring your legs to a wall. You can even strap your legs so they can just relax. You'd strap your legs at your thighs and then at your lower legs, at your shins. And just allowing your nervous system to settle. Noticing if you feel any different from the beginning of practice, moving energy, releasing things that don't need to hang around. And you can stay here as long as you want, or when you're ready, you can touch down, move your block. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open out. You can always bring 2 blocks underneath each leg, or 1 block underneath each leg, so that your hips aren't at such an extreme angle if that's not for you. And then take the arms overhead, connect hands to elbows, open through the chest, expand through your front body, ground into your back body. And you're welcome to stay like this for your Shavasana, or you can release into more of a classical position. Legs straight, feet wider than hips, palms open or grounded. Whatever position you take, close your eyes, feel your nervous system settle. Start to connect to your back body, feel roots growing down into the earth. Drawing nourishment from those roots. Digging deep into that darkness to anchor you. Feeling secure. Feeling nurtured. Feeling supported. Connecting to your roots. Deeper the roots, the taller you can grow. So with that nourishment that you're drawing from the earth, start to feel warmth of sun, feel air, feel nourishment from above. And draw that in and feel it expand out. Feel yourself growing toward that warmth, toward that sun, toward that light. Expanding outward in all directions. Connecting ground to sky, earth to heaven. Expand into the universe. I invite you to stay here as long as you need. Let's see if you can pause this to continue or start to come back into your breath. Come back into the room if you went somewhere. If you had your soles of your feet together and your knees open, draw the knees back in toward each other and toe heel the feet to the outside edges of your mat to let the knees fall in, just to take a counter pose. You can windshield wiper the legs. If you were in classic position for Shavasana, just start to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe take a full body stretch. Just connect back into your body. And then when you're ready, we'll all draw knees into chest, rock from side to side. Once again, massage back body. And then rolling to one side, whichever side calls. You can use your arm as a pillow if that feels good. Just connect. And then slowly press yourself back into seated, whatever that looks like for you. Just let it be grounded. Bring your hands to your heart center, bow your head. Connect to your breath. Take a deep breath into your heart. Gather anything that doesn't serve and let it go. Exhale. And do that once more. Big breath in, gather. Release. And then bring your hands, your thumbs to your third eye, bow your head. Sending peace and gratitude, metta, loving kindness to all who inhabit this earth with us. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you have ease of well-being. May you be free.